in the music selection here by super producer Brendan Slaughter. Maybe it's just a metaphor for our fandom with this Trailblazers team. We're in too deep. We're in too deep, and we can't change now. We're stuck with it. The Blazers, they played hard, they battle hard, and unfortunately can't get a victory in San Antonio. They lose one, and it was a game that you were hoping that they could get with no Victor Wembanyama, no Stephen Castle, but they still found ways to score points. They still found ways to get stops, and they grab a 112-101 victory over the Blazers. This is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you would like to join the conversation today, 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. You can hit us up on the text line at 88528. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. Now, going into this situation and losing to Denver and then losing to San Antonio, not ideal. And we've talked about it many times that you would ideally like to get one of these two games. And you had a chance against Denver, but you let them come back. And this one just couldn't get the offense going like you did, again, in Denver when the offense was just absolutely incredible. And San Antonio gets it. And at the end of the day, in that one, it's easy to look at and understand that, you know what, San Antonio is a pretty good team. And Denver is a pretty good team. And teams like that are going to get victories. And they're going to make it hard. But now, for the Blazers, it sets up a massive, massive game in Moda on Friday night. Blazers get to take on the Clippers. Winner basically has the inside track to the 8th seed. If Portland wins that game and then beats Sacramento, they're the 8th seed. If they don't win that game, basically pencil in that they're 9th. Still a lot to play for. Without winning this game, you're okay. You would have ideally liked to win it, because if you would have won this game, oh boy, it would have changed a lot as you head into that game on Friday. Right now, though, still in a good spot. Would you have liked to win? Of course. But you know what? Is what it is. That is a hell of a team over there in San Antonio. In Oklahoma City, they're doing you a favor as a Blazer fan. They got a 128-109 lead over the Clippers with 15 seconds left. But let's talk about this one real quick. What happened in San Antonio? It's time for the Rip City recap. Well, the Blazers tried to come out of the gate firing. Looked like it was going to be a little bit of a repeat of that game against Denver where they were shooting the ball well, but they just couldn't sustain it for the entire night. The Spurs would come back, and it was run after run for them, and they outscored Portland 32-23 in the first quarter. A little bit closer in the second, 29-28. But it was one of those games where they got out to that lead, and then it was just a little bit of playing with their food the rest of the way. Portland would cut it to 4 again before San Antonio pushed the lead back out to 15, 16 points. Then Portland would cut it back, and then San Antonio would push it back out. So Portland never really got over that hump. And to San Antonio's credit, they really never let them in this game. Points in the paint was pretty even, 58-54. Second chance points, a place where Portland usually excels, was 9-8 in favor of Portland. Fast break points, 22-20. Bench points is where this one really exploded for San Antonio, 48-10 in favor of the Spurs. 18 turnovers for San Antonio, 16 for Portland. So another game where they're below their average, despite the fact that that number in and of itself is still higher than every other team not named the Portland Trailblazers. Points off turnovers, 26-21 in favor of San Antonio. So you look at it right out of the jump, you're like, okay, well, teams played pretty evenly outside of those bench points. But then you start trying to break down the game, see where this game fell apart. And honestly, when you get a game that is 112-109, excuse me, 112-109, and you look at the box score, and it's interesting because I got to reload this page a couple times. Like, am I getting an April Fool's prank on me? Because that doesn't seem right. But that's what happened. Portland went to the free throw line just 10 times in this game, only converted on 5 of them, 50% from the free throw line, which unless you have a guy named Shaquille O'Neal on your team, with all due respect, Diesel, that's pretty inexcusable to shoot 50% from the free throw line. Meanwhile, San Antonio was 15 of 19, went there 9 more times, made 10 more shots. And so, again, in a game decided by 11 points, those type of things matter. Portland was 42 of 93 from the field, good for 45%. San Antonio was 48%. And then Portland struggled from beyond the arc. A night after they were absolutely blistering hot in Denver, Portland was just 12 of 37 in this game, good for 32%. Taking a look at the individual box scores, Devin Vassell had 14 points for San Antonio, 2 points for Julian Champagny, 10 points from Luke Cornett. De'Aaron Fox had 25. 13 from Dylan Harper. Keldon Johnson had 20. Carter Bryant was on fire. 5 of 6 from beyond the arc. He had 17 points. On the Trailblazers side of things, Toumani Camara, he's still playing well. He's been incredible on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, still, as advertised, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He had 3 steals and a block shot. He was 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. He was 0 for 0 from the free throw stripe. Denny Avdia, 29 points to lead all scorers in this game. He also had 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 11 points from Donovan Clingan. We talked about that pregame. I would have really liked him to go off a little bit more in this game, especially with no Victor Wembanyama. This is the type of game where I think you can go attack the rim a little bit more, but it just hasn't been his strength as of late. But he still had a decent game. 20 points from Scoot Henderson. He also had 10 rebounds, 6 assists, just 3 turnovers. And after multiple games where the Blazers bench was clutch, where Matisse Thybulle and Robert Williams and Chris Murray were finding ways to get things done and score the bucket, not a lot of production from the Trailblazers bench in this one. Robert Williams with 4 points, 0 points from Matisse Thybulle, 2 points apiece from Chris Murray, Sidy Cissoko, and Blake Wesley. In the end, it's a 101 point total for the Blazers versus a 112 point total for San Antonio as the Spurs grab another victory. And with this game too, they needed a win and hoped that the Clippers would get the upset so they could still cling on to that hope of getting to the first seed, but that hope is gone with that victory for San Antonio today. So that's where you're at if you are the Spurs. That's where you're at if you are the Blazers. And again, the best thing about all this is that there is still absolutely plenty to play for Portland on Friday night with the Clippers in town. If you can do what you did just a few games ago in Los Angeles, then you got a pretty good chance at getting that 8 seed. And if not, oh no, you get the 9 seed where you're locked into hosting a game against Golden State, which would likely be on Tuesday at Moda Center. So still a lot to play for. That's good. Losing, that's bad. That's bad. Taking a look at the YouTube chat. Eric Weldon says, last chance, one more weekend to secure 8th and have a win and in situation. I ain't. Yes, I know I'm not physically playing, trying to play 2 play-in games just to get wiped by OKC. And yeah, you're going to get wiped by either one of these teams. Now, if I were traveling with the team and I had to pick one of those 2 to go to, San Antonio without hesitation, probably one of my favorite cities in the NBA. There's some good eats down there in San Antonio, let me tell you what. Oklahoma City's pretty chill, pretty low key. The Riverwalk, the brick town that they've made, the fake Riverwalk's pretty cool. Take a good walk down and through the parks and through the rivers. It's kind of nice. But the food scene in San Antonio, yeah, you want to play the Spurs. I also think if you play Oklahoma City, you're swept. I think if you play San Antonio, you have a chance to steal 1, but it's not going to be a pretty good series. Kind of might get a little ugly, but I do like the idea of getting to 8, win 1 and in, and at the, maybe you have 2 games. It's just extra basketball to take in. I would like that. Ryan says Denny putting his head down, driving, and hoping for a whistle is a big part of his game. I don't think that will translate to playoff basketball where the refs tend to let them play. And you're absolutely not wrong, Ryan, which Friday's going to be interesting because it does change a little bit, obviously, because it sounds like there's a chance that you might get Vit Krejci and Shaden Sharp back in. But with Denny, the unfortunate part for him versus like an SGA, because they're both those guys who kind of go look for that contact. Everyone likes to be so negative and talk, foul merchants or this and that. It's like, no, they go in looking for contact. It's how they play. Do I like the flopping that they both do? No, I really don't. But the difference between them is that SGA can still hit that shot. Denny's not a knockdown shooter yet. Like sometimes he takes a 3-pointer and like, no. Dang it. Right? Shea's a better shooter. Era Weldon says, did Chris just break news? I just assumed Shea was out for the year. I did not just break news, but it was announced today that Vit Krejci and Shaden Sharp were upgraded to doubtful for the game in San Antonio. And if you follow the patterns of how the Blazers have dealt with their other injuries this season, Scoot Henderson, Drew Holiday, and Jeremy Grant, after missing significant time, were all listed as doubtful. Went from out, upgraded to doubtful, as weird as that sounds, missed a game, and then by the next game were listed as questionable. So if you're following that trend, I would be willing to bet that Shaden Sharp and Vit Krejci, or at least one of them, is listed as questionable for the game on Friday against the Clippers. That gives you a guy who is a career 40% shooter. It struggled a little bit here in Portland, but I have no, hesitation saying that I think he'll be just fine. He's got the shot form down. He's got everything there. He's good. And then Shaden Sharp was your second leading scorer on the team and took the lion's share of the field goal attempts. More of the offense ran through him than it did Denny when it came to field goals. Getting him back is huge, especially if he's ready to go. Sean also chimes in. I think best case scenario at this point is Blazers get ninth, get a home game, win, and then lose to the Suns. PDX gets experience and a first-round pick. LA Suns go to the playoffs. LA doesn't give OKC a lottery pick. Like there's a lot there. I get what you're laying down. And you know what? If you get 9 and you get the victory in Golden State and then you go lose the next one, I'm okay with that. That's a little bit of that experience. That's why I want to be in this play-in. And if you get through and you end up getting a first-round series and you get 4 or 5 games, that's even more experience. And to Ryan's point earlier about games being officiated different and how Denny can adjust to that and how he may or may not adjust to that, it's going to be just like that in the play-in. The play-in is going to be playoff basketball, and that's different. For better or worse, it's different. And I think that experience is huge. That's why I've been on this all year long. And you know what? If they get into the play and they get bounced, that's still a hell of a year for me, especially if they grab one of these last 2 games. They finish 41-41. I mean, 500 ball, the trend is going in the right direction. Hopefully, you get to the point, this time next year where, going on the road and playing Denver and San Antonio and dropping both of them isn't as much of a stinger. I think that's the thing. The Blazers have been playing better basketball of late, so these games didn't feel like they were guaranteed losses. So they sting just a little bit. It's like, oh man, I was hoping you'd pick up one. Instead, they fall to both of them. But keep in mind, we're talking about the number 3 and the number 2 team in the Western Conference. San Antonio, even without Victor Wembanyama, is a really, really good basketball team. Denver has arguably the best player on the planet in Nikola Jokic. Even though they lost, I think you could argue the Blazers get better for it, and focus can still be on LA, and that goal of getting to the 8th seed is still right there in front of you. And you know what? If you lose to the Clippers, who are a very good team as well, who honestly, that game they got in LA was crazy because I think LA can be a matchup nightmare. And you know what? You lose that game, and that means you get one playoff game to try to advance into the next round of the play-in, but it's home against Golden State. It's going to be a pretty cool experience at Moda Center. I'll tell you that. Be a better experience than watching the team playing a play-in in the bubble in Disney World. This is the 5th quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the chat there, or 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. One of our texters said the Blazers starting guards were a combined 13 of 37 for field goals tonight, along with the bench being outscored by 38 with Wemby and Cass out is a huge disappointment. And I totally get that. That's where this one does sting for me a little bit. Like, I'm telling you that San Antonio is a good team even without Victor Wembanyama and Stephen Castle. Stephen Castle's their number one assist guy, third leading scorer. He's a very good player. Missing those two guys makes San Antonio more gettable, if that makes sense. It doesn't make them bad. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're still a good team without those two guys. They're not a 60-win team over an entire season probably without those guys, but they're still a damn good basketball team. So when you lose to a damn good basketball team, it's I'm not disappointed, but when you don't take full advantage of a team missing two of its best players, then yeah, I feel that disappointment as well. Like, I know that's not an answer you guys want, but I'm just genuinely on the fence right there. Where, like, I understand, like I shouldn't be too disappointed that you lost to a really good team, but at the same time, didn't take advantage of having the alien out. When Victor Wembanyama's out, you gotta get as many wins as you can. And the Blazers guards, to your point, Texter, absolutely have to be better than that from the field. Like, Scoot Henderson has been playing much better. I like the fact he had 20 points. I don't like the fact that he's shooting 7 of 20 from the floor. That needs to be better. Drew Holiday, 6 of 17. Yikes. That needs to be better. So yeah, I absolutely get what you're laying down. We're going to take a break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our drive of the night, take a look at the NBA scoreboard, still have Coach's Corner, and a game ball to hand out. All that and more here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the Rip City Drive. Chris Burkhardt here. Rip City Drive, excuse me. Long day of radio. That's what happens when you fill in for Chad on the Rip City Drive. Man, brain is broken. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. We're breaking down this loss to the San Antonio Spurs. If you want to join the conversation with us, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also hit us up on the Rip City Radio text line. Just text 88528 or go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there as well. Tough game for the Blazers as they fall to the Spurs, and a game that felt like it was winnable going in without Victor Wembanyama and Stephen Castle, but the Blazers couldn't get over the hump. They couldn't get the offense flowing. They could not get the defense to get the big stops they needed, and they ended up dropping one. Still a lot to play for. I've talked about that a lot during that first segment, and will reiterate, still a lot to play for as the Clippers come to town on Friday, and the play-in and getting into the 8th seed is still very much right there and within reach. We will see how well the Blazers can play. How can they focus? Can they take care of business? Again, sometimes easier said than done. Now, tonight they did, in fact, lose to the Spurs. Not great, but the game itself was not something that I looked at as like, oh yeah, that was just terrible, worst game I've seen all year. There was still some things about it that I liked, including some beautiful plays from Toumani Camara, including our drive of the night.
Fox across the timeline, near side at midcourt. Kamara strips it away, steals it, takes it the other way, drives and lays it in. That was all Toumani Camara as he put Fox in the box and dropped it in for the pair. 19-15, Blazers lead.
I gotta get Travis on the show ASAP and ask him how long he was working on put Fox in the box. I mean, that sounds like that's a radio guy right there. Knows what he's doing. And that Drive of the Night brought to you by our friends at McCord Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, "We make it easy." Check out their inventory now at vancouvertoyota.com. Again, like I'm trying my best, friends, to not just be the broken record. He's stuck on repeat. He's stuck on repeat. It's just unfortunate game, but not all is lost, because Friday is what matters the most when it comes to trying to get that 8th seed in the play-in. Winning tonight would have certainly helped, would have put you in a slightly better spot. But on Friday, you win that game against the Clippers, and you're right back where you need to be. Where a victory against the Kings on Sunday gives you that 8th seed. So not all is lost. Not all is lost. It just would have been nice to have it taken care of tonight. You win the game tonight, and you walk in really feeling good on Friday. Now your back is feeling slightly up against the wall, and you're going, okay, we got to focus. We got to reshuffle here a little bit. We got to get ready to bring our all against a very good Clippers team. And the reason Friday became even more important wasn't just because what happened tonight. It is what happened around the league, including a game that saw the Clippers taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's take a look at what happened, how it impacted your Blazers. It's time for an NBA scoreboard report. All right, let's take a look at the NBA scoreboard. Everything final tonight. In Cleveland, the Cavaliers grab a 122-116 victory over the Atlanta Hawks. Donovan Mitchell, 31 points, 7 boards. Jonathan Kuminga, 24 points, 6 boards for the Hawks. In Orlando, the Magic 132, the Timberwolves 120. Paulo Banchero, 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in the Magic victory. In Detroit, the Pistons 137, the Bucks 111. Jalen Duren had 21 points and 9 rebounds. Jericho Sims, 11 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists for for the Bucks. In Denver, the Nuggets 136, the Grizzlies 119. Nikola Jokic 14 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists. Cedric Howard had 27 points and 6 boards for the Grizzlies. In LA, the biggest game of the night that did not include your Trailblazers, the Thunder grab a 128-110 victory over the Clippers. Chet Holmgren, 30 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Kawhi Leonard had 20 points and 8 rebounds. And then the Suns grab a 112-107 victory over the Mavericks. Devin Booker, 37 points, 9 assists. And final score in San Antonio, the Spurs, 112. The Trailblazers, 101. This NBA Scoreboard Report also brought to you by our friends at McCord Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, "We make it easy." Check out their inventory now at vancouvertoyota.com. Now, standings-wise, taking a look at how that has started to shape out. The Suns have a 2.5 game lead over the Clippers now. The Clippers 22 games back overall, and the Blazers 23.5. Now that has not been updated to reflect the fact that the Clippers did lose tonight. They are not winners of 2 in a row. So now the Blazers go into this game 40-40. The Clippers will go into their game 41-39 on Friday. And if Blazers win that game, that means you have 2 teams who are 41-40 going into the final game of the season. And if Portland wins and the Clippers lose, they're in. If both teams win, Portland's in because of the tiebreaker. That game basically says you win, you're the 8th seed. As long as you take care of business the rest of the way. Now, the Blazers' final game on their schedule is the Sacramento Kings. That is a team that is right now second to last in the league, technically last because they are sitting there with the same record as the Utah Jazz. They're not good. They have struggled all year long, 21-59, 3-7 in their last 10. Utah, on the other hand, losers of 10 in a row. So therefore, 0-10 in their last 10. Those teams aren't good. So you would hope that Portland takes advantage and wins that ball game. As for the Clippers, they end the season against Golden State, which is interesting because you're playing against Golden State. Golden State has nothing to play for because they're not going to be able to get to 9. They're the 10th seed. The Clippers will have something to play for, so Golden State might just roll out their B team just to save Steph and save everybody for the play-in game. So a lot to watch there as well. But I would look at that going, okay, if the Clippers taking away the Portland game, I would pick the Clippers to beat Golden State, and I would take the Blazers to beat Sacramento. So then once again, everything rides on what happens Friday night at Moda Center. And the best way to help this team get that victory is to pack the house. You know? What's Mark Mason say every day? And the Moda Center is our house. Like, you guys remember that. Protect it. Best way to do that is go get your tickets right now. Head over to trailblazers.com. Buy your tickets. Get ready for that game. And you know what? Look at the play-in, too, because Moda Center, when it's packed, it's a tough place to win. This is the 5th quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. Let's take a look at the text line. I was expecting a lot more from Klingon with Wemby out. You ain't the only one, my friend. I absolutely predicted in the pregame show that would be the case. Take advantage of the situation, get in there, and obviously attack the rim a little bit more, play good defense. That's the tough part with DC. And I want you to understand that when I say this, I am being hypercritical of him because I expect big things. He's already proven to me that he's a high-caliber starting center in the NBA. Defensively, he's great. He grabs those boards like crazy. There's a lot that he brings to the table. But he's also 7'3" and sometimes plays small at the rim. I want him to play with so much power and ferocity that when he gets the ball down low, defenses go, oh, no, because they have to defend that. I grew up, I know, I'm old. I grew up watching Prime Shaq. You gave the ball to him down in the paint. That was your reaction. Oh, no. You know who you saw on the screen tonight because he was in attendance? David Robinson. David Robinson, you give the ball to him down in the paint, defenses, oh, no. Hakeem Olajuwon, same thing. And all three of those guys I just mentioned played in a different way in the paint, but commanded it, owned it. played like centers and dominated. The dream shake is a thing for a reason. I want Donovan Clingan to play like that. And then I'll have people be like, well, he's just not as athletic as the other guys. Oh, stop. He's 7'3". Put your hands up in the air and you're touching the rim. Jump up, throw it down. That's what I want to see. Ryan says the ESPN announcers had good things to say about Clingan tonight. And like I said, I just want to point out, I want to reiterate, preface the fact that I am being extra critical of him because those are the things I want him to improve on. Donovan Clingan, as he stands right now, is legit. Donovan Clingan, as he stands right now, impacts the game. Donovan Clingan is good. He has won games for this Blazer team on the defensive side of the ball. Offense as well when he hits those threes. I just want to see him play bigger. As Sean chimes in, I hope Clingan realizes someday that he is the biggest guy in the court in most games. Exactly. You're the biggest guy on the court. Play like the biggest guy on the court. Throw it down, big man. Throw it down. All right, we're going to take a break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner, hear from head coach Thiago Splitter. We'll hand out a game ball, and then we'll go rest up, friends, because on Friday, we dine in Moda Center. The Clippers are hopefully dining in hell. That's a 300 reference for those of you who know. It's a good movie. One of the few movies I watched multiple times in theaters. Yeah, sure, it was the Dollar Theater in Eugene. It was cheap, but it was a good movie. It was worth every penny. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Fifth quarter rolls on after the break on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, breaking down this loss to the San Antonio Spurs. If you'd like to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also hit us up on YouTube. Just type in Rip City Radio and join the chat there. And one of our texters says Klingon would have been a player to interview after his performance against the Spurs backups. And yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, though. Sometimes the thing about Klingon is sometimes when you have to mess around with that, you have to take a Victor Wembanyama out. You have to take big bodies out. He's not as good when the teams go smaller and make him move. And that's why Robert Williams has been so important to this team this year. But those are the things that I think Donovan Klingon is smart enough to work on, because we saw him get better this last offseason. I think he'll get better again this next offseason. He's a very, very good center right now, and I think the team and he are smart enough to know that like these nitpicks are good things to make him get even better. He's going to be great. And then Ryan says, I talked about my 300 quote. It is a good one. You got to go watch it on YouTube. It's yes, it's a good one. Gets you pumped when King Leonidas is trying to get everyone amped up. Spartans, ready your breakfast and eat hearty, for tonight we dine in hell. And then they went on to just absolutely obliterate the armies. And yeah, they lost at the end of the day, but they still ended up winning. It's very important. It's a crazy movie. Zack Snyder, graphic novel, semi historically accurate, but not actually all the way historically accurate. Except the line when the Persian says our arrows will blot out the sun, and the Spartan retorts, then we shall fight in the shade. That is believed to be a real quote from that fight. The Battle of Thermopylae, where you can actually still find arrows embedded in the ground. Yeah, that was crazy. So, I love those movies that, again, 300 was not the most historically accurate of films, but those movies that have that tie back to something that happened historically always make me end up going down the history rabbit hole. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I randomly need to go see Thermopylae in real life, real hotbed of tourism. Yep, but we're gonna go. Hey babe, we're gonna go see the King Leonidas statue in Thermopylae. You ready? Let's go. Let's jump on this plane. Speaking of jumping on this plane, Portland is jumping on a plane to head back home after taking this loss in San Antonio. And we're jumping to the coach's corner.
They play better than us. Simple like that. I think, we couldn't dominate the rebounds. I think they hurt us, in every way, running in transition, playing smalls. They got non-shooters that made shots. We didn't make shots today. They were more aggressive, passing lanes, stealing the balls, getting easy transition points. They just play better than us.
Have you guys already kind of turned the page to that game versus the Clippers? I know you guys talked about the last game versus Clippers being really important. This one also seems like it's going to be rather important.
Yeah, of course. We got to still, digest this game and fly back home and try to recover. And like we said, most important game of the season versus Clippers.
48-10 in bench scoring. Your assessment of that?
I mean, again, Keldon Johnson was unbelievable. Brian hitting shots. He's not like a great shooter, but he made tonight. He's at 30% and made, 5 for 6. Keldon, he's been scoring his whole life, so it's not a surprise. We didn't match his energy. He killed us under the rim, rebounding, just pounding there and getting easy twos, and we couldn't stop them.
Any other questions? Coach, what can we expect what would you expect to see from CD in the next, coming month or years? He's still a young player.
Years?
Or month, yeah.
Well, CD, is a player that played really well for us this season. That's the reason he got a contract. We signed him. He always bring energy. Maybe tonight wasn't his night, but it's a guy that we like in our program. We are developing him and try to make him even a better player.
You talk about what kind of improvements you would like him to make in his offensive game?
Sorry, say that again.
What kind of improvements you would like to see him doing in his
I think he's improving already, taking care of the ball. Defensively, he's active off the ball. Got to be a little bit better guarding pick and roll and getting, navigating those screens. Of course, the shooting is something that he's still got to develop. But yeah, we love him. We like him. His energy is key in our locker room.
And there you hear Coach praising the man, Sidy Cissoko. Didn't expect 2 minutes of Sidy Cissoko questions, but you got him. Keep in mind he is a former San Antonio Spurs, so they still hold some interest in him. So is Tiago Splitter, by the way. So two former and Blake Wesley. It's a little Spurs light. Maybe Portland can latch onto that and start being as good as they are. But you heard Casey Holdahl ask it right off the top too, and obviously they know that the last time they played the Clips, at that point in time, that was the most important game of the season. And now you get to play the Clippers again on your home court, and the game also, at this point in time, the most important game of the season. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number, where we head out to friend of the show, Tall Tim, right now. Tim, welcome in to the fifth quarter.
Here we are. 2 games to go in the regular season. How did we get here so fast? But here we are.
I don't know, but it did come fast, my friend.
Yeah, but we accomplished a huge goal this year. Is we're going to actually be part of the playoffs. Whether we get in the playoffs or not, another question. But that's a huge jump. And with all the injuries this year, it's even kind of more surprising. But I did not watch this game tonight. I was going to see a local funk band that I like called the Get Down Funk Collective.
Okay.
And they were fun tonight, so I had to make a choice. But I noticed that the first quarter, which is often a big indicator of who's going to win the game, they outscored us by 9. And I think part of that, what my guessing is because of the different lineup that San Antonio put out there. They weren't really sure what to do with them, right? So they just were able to get some points on the board before Portland could get going with anything. And then they were just chasing them the whole night. And, that's kind of what you get with a weird game like this. Fox obviously had a big game. He's always tough to keep in front of you. And then the 2 bench guys, I think actually Brian, I think, is probably the biggest surprise to me when I looked at the box score. And I don't know was it like where they left Aaron Gordon open all night long against Denver and eventually cost them the game?
There was definitely quite a few open shots. I'll say that.
Okay. Well, we got to clean that up, You can only dare a guy so many times before he takes it personal, So, but okay, so we're in now. This game Friday. Is everybody on the Clippers pretty good shape as far as you know?
You got Kawhi doing his thing, and they were in pretty good shape last time you played them too. Still have every once in a while you get these teams and they have a guy or two out. But you look at what happened tonight against the Thunder, for example. We can take a quick look at that box score. Collins was in there. Kawhi Leonard's playing. So, as long as they have Kawhi Leonard, they're going to be tough. Starting lineup, Derrick Jones Jr., Brooke Lopez, Chris Dunn. So, Ben Mathurin coming off the bench. They're fairly healthy.
And they got the guy they got from Cleveland, that point guard he's playing, right? Is he hurt or?
he's doing his thing. He's out right now. That was for Wednesday's game. He's got a left toe injury, but you never know what the status is going to be for Friday.
All right. Well, that's probably why he had a rough time in Cleveland, or they decided to move him. It was like, this guy stay in the lineup. Well, it'll be interesting, because I mean, this is one of those games you would never have gotten last year at the end of the season, or the last 4 seasons, right? Something
Right.
to play for. So even though we may have only one, 2 at the most play-in games, this is as good as those are going to be for sure, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a good place to be. It's nice to see that that upward trajectory is actually trending how we've wanted it to for the last few years. Even if you go in and lose it, Tim, I think it's good for this team to just be in this situation.
And the last game against Sacramento, at home too, right? Okay, so that helps us, because you might need that. So you still have to, not like, oh, we're going to play all the guys who didn't get to play too much this year, so it's still going to probably be an important game, but it also may not be an important game, right, if we know we're not going to catch them.
I mean, if you lose that game, to the Clippers, and yeah, it changes everything right there, because at that point, it's going to be pretty much done. But if you win that game, you're both going to be 41-40 going into that last game. You lose that game, you're going to be 40-41. They're going to be 42-40. There is no catching up. You win the game, that's how you advance. Basically, winner of that game takes seed, hands down.
Well, go Blazers. And by the way, your rendition of what was the character you were doing?
Oh, that was King Leonidas.
Oh my God, that was excellent. You were very good. You should get into. We should create a Blazer character or something that you can do.
Oh my gosh! So Tim, I'm gonna have to go find this for you, my friend. It's not on YouTube, and all the videos have been wiped from the planet. But I did this voice one day, once upon a time in college, and my old boss at NBC found it, and he's like, "Where'd you get that voice?" I'm like, "I just made it up," and it was a play off of what was it, like Boris from the Hey Arnold series. And he's like, we should do something with that. So back at NBC, and this was a decade ago, we had a character. It was Boris Godunov. He was a super Trailblazer fan. And I was the character. And if I can do it, it's been a very long time, but it was a little something like this. It was hey, welcome into the 5th quarter. It's Boris Godunov here, and I'm super Blazer fan. So excited. I don't care that they lose tonight. They win on Friday. They get 8th seed. We go to playoff. That was it, and my boss loved it.
Yes, we need to incorporate these different character sounds. I think there's another maybe the 6th quarter
market.
Or something.
The 6th quarter. There we go. Now I'm going to work on getting it animated as well. We're going to make a cartoon.
Yeah, everybody that we could give Chad a character. He could come up with something good. I think.
I think he could.
Yeah.
All right, Tim. Thanks for the call as always, man. You have a good one.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
I love that. I didn't know my King Leonidas was gonna stick, but it did. Like I said, look it up. Go research the Battle of Thermopylae. History is amazing. Those who don't learn from it are doomed to repeat it, though. Never forget. Now, Blazers lost. That's unfortunate. Doesn't mean we can't hand out a game ball, though. Brendan, roll that intro. I think you got to give the game ball to Tom Dundon in this one, because he either just made a bunch of fans or made a bunch of people go, oh, no. I think he made fans, though. Do you see that shot mid-game, him sitting courtside by the L train, LaMarcus Aldridge? That's a quick way to make sure fans love you, by sitting next to one of the all-time great Trailblazers. I wonder, does San Antonio consider him an all-time great Spur? Obviously, he didn't, win a championship, but he was good. I love LaMarcus Aldridge. You guys listen to me, I'll defend him. He was a good player, one of the best to ever wear the jersey. just didn't end the way you wanted it to. That's pretty bad. Can't be doing that. Now, one of our texters was talking about Donovan Clingan again. That last game against the Clippers, he had 4 points, 4 rebounds. I'm worried about Friday. Drew had 30 points in the last Clipper game. Blazers will need another performance like that. You're absolutely right. They're going to need everybody to step up and everybody to have great games. We talked about it before that game, and we'll talk about it some more on Friday and see where it can change. But a team like the Clippers is going to go small at times, and they're going to stretch Donovan Clingan, so you're going to rely a lot on Robert Williams to get the job done. That's why they've been leaning on Chris Murray a lot. And Brook Lopez is a big, old, lumbering center, but he spaces the floor, and that's bad because he can shoot that three-pointer. That means you either had to put someone smaller on him or you have to take Donovan Clingan out of the paint. So you have to figure out what plan you want. If I know Tiago Splitter and the rest of this team like I think I do, they already have their iPads in hand and they are watching film as they are flying back to Portland right now, because this game is the most important game of the season thus far. Definitely the most important game in Moda Center in some time. And also, I'm giving the actual game ball to Toumani Camara. Why not? He looked good. 18 points. The offense has been great. He was efficient, 58% from the field. I like it. 6 assists, 3 steals, and a block shot. He was doing everything he needed to do. Him and Denny were tied for the team high in +7. Need to be better than that against the Clips on Friday. All right, that's going to do it for the 5th quarter tonight. Thanks to everybody for sticking with us, getting through. I know losses are no fun, but hey, at this point, still got a chance to be 41-41. 500 is still in play. And regardless, more wins than we've had the last few years. We've had more fun 5th quarters than bad ones. That's a good place to be. The Blazers battle hard tonight, and then they fall to the San Antonio Spurs 112-101. They will be back in action on Friday at home. I've said it before, I'll say it again, in the most important game of the season against the LA Clippers. And the best way you can help the Blazers get that victory is to sell Moda Center out. Make it a hostile environment for the visiting team. Head over to trailblazers.com right now. Buy those tickets. Get ready for some fun action to end the season and a play-in game to follow. Once again, Blazers fall in San Antonio 112-101. I'll have game day for you on Friday at 5 o'clock. Until then, Rip City. We'll talk to you on the next one.